I thought 20 years of marriage meant something, until my wife asked for a divorce over dinner like we were discussing groceries. It was a Tuesday evening, just like any other. I'd come home from work a little early, picked up some takeout from that Italian place she liked, the one with the decent lasagna. Our daughter Emily was 18 and buried in her college applications upstairs, and our son, Jake, 15, was at soccer practice. The house smelled like garlic and tomato sauce as I set the table. Sarah walked in from her shift at the hospital, her nurse's scrub still on, hair tied back in that messy bun she always wore after a long day. She smiled at me, the kind of tired smile that said, "Thanks for handling dinner," and I felt that familiar warmth. 20 years and I still got butterflies from little moments like that. We sat down, passed around the plates, made small talk about the day. "How was the ER?" I asked, scooping some pasta onto her plate. She shrugged, poked at her food. "Busy." Nothing new. Then out of nowhere, as casual as if she were asking for the salt, she said, "Mark, I'm not happy. I want a divorce." The fork slipped from my hand, clattering against the plate. Emily froze mid-bite, her eyes wide. I stared at Sarah, waiting for the punchline, the "just kidding" that never came. My chest tightened, like someone had wrapped a band around it and was pulling hard. "What?" was all I could manage, my voice barely above a whisper. She looked at me with those calm blue eyes, the ones I'd fallen in love with back in college, and repeated it. "I want a divorce. I've been thinking about it for a while." The room spun. How could this be happening? That morning we'd kissed goodbye like always. I'd texted her a stupid meme during lunch and she'd replied with a laughing emoji. Normal. Everything was normal. Or so I thought. Looking back, our marriage had seemed like one of those solid, unbreakable things. We met in our early 20s at a mutual friend's party. Me, the quiet engineering student, her, the outgoing nursing major with a laugh that lit up the room. We dated for 2 years, got married in a small ceremony at her parents' backyard, and dove headfirst into life. Emily came along a year later, Jake 5 years after that. I took a steady job at an engineering firm, not the flashy one with travel and promotions, but the reliable one that let me be home for dinner most nights. Sarah's career as a nurse meant odd hours, so I handled a lot of the kid stuff: school runs, soccer games, parent-teacher conferences. We saved up and built our dream house 10 years in, a cozy 3-bedroom in the suburbs with a backyard big enough for barbecues and a swing set. I sacrificed things, sure. Social life dwindled to family outings and the occasional beer with old buddies. Career-wise, I turned down a promotion that would have meant relocating because Sarah didn't want to uproot the kids. But I never regretted it. We laughed together, binge-watched shows on weekends, took family vacations to the beach every summer. No big blowouts, no screaming matches, just the usual ups and downs of life. A forgotten anniversary here, a stressed-out snap there, but we always made up. I thought we were happy. Hell, I knew we were, or at least I knew I was. But in the months leading up to that dinner, there were signs. Little things I brushed off because, well, life gets busy. Sarah started pulling away emotionally, like she was there but not really. Conversations at night turned into one-word answers. "How was your day?" "Fine." She'd stare at her phone during movies, a small smile creeping up when a notification pinged. I'd ask, "What's so funny?" and she'd say, "Just a meme from work," locking the screen quickly. Then there were the changes in her. New clothes, stylish blouses and jeans that hugged her figure, not the practical stuff she usually wore. She joined a gym, started going 3 times a week, coming home flushed and energized. "I need to take care of myself," she'd say, and I'd nod, proud of her. Outings with friends from work increased, girls' nights that ran late, where she'd come back smelling faintly of wine and perfume. Once I overheard a whispered phone call in the bathroom. "I can't talk now." "Yeah, me too." When she came out, she jumped a little, seeing me in the hall. "Who was that?" I asked casually. "Just Mom checking in," she replied too quickly. I ignored it all, chalked it up to midlife stuff, stress from her job, maybe perimenopause or whatever. "She's just going through a phase," I'd tell myself, lying awake while she slept soundly beside me. Deep down, I didn't want to poke the bubble. Our life was good. Why rock the boat? That divorce announcement shattered everything. Emily burst into tears, pushing her plate away. "Mom, what are you talking about?" Sarah reached for her hand, but Emily pulled back. Jake wasn't there, thank God. We had to tell him later, and watching his face crumple was like a knife to the gut. I begged Sarah to explain, my voice cracking. Why? What did I do? We can fix this, counseling, whatever you want. She just shook her head, her expression oddly detached. It's not you, Mark, it's me. I haven't been happy for a long time. No yelling, no tears from her, just calm finality. I felt like the ground had opened up beneath me, swallowing everything I knew. The next few weeks were a blur. She moved out to a friend's place temporarily, saying she needed space. I walked around our house like a ghost, the silence deafening. The kids split time between us, but it was awkward. Emily resentful, Jake withdrawn. I tried to hold it together for them, making breakfast, driving them to school, but inside I was unraveling. Why? It made no sense. We weren't perfect, but we weren't broken either. Desperation kicked in. One night, alone with a bottle of whiskey, I started digging. First, the phone bills. Hers was on our family plan, so I pulled up the records online. There it was, repeated calls to the same number late at night, sometimes lasting an hour. Texts too, hundreds over the past year. My heart pounded as I cross-referenced the number. It belonged to a guy named Alex, someone from her high school days. I'd heard the name once or twice. They were old friends, she'd said. Then emails. She hadn't logged out of our shared computer, so I checked her inbox. Buried in a folder labeled work were messages going back years. Innocent at first. Hey, remember that time in senior year, but escalating. Flirty banter, shared memories, complaints about daily life. Mark's great, but sometimes I feel stuck, one from her read. His replies, you deserve more excitement. I think about you all the time. Social media was next. She wasn't big on it, but I found a private Instagram account she'd set up, followed only by a handful, including him. Photos of her at the gym, smiling selfies with captions like feeling alive again. Comments from Alex, hearts, fire emojis, looking amazing as always. My stomach churned. This wasn't a fling, this was deep. The big shock hit when I pieced together the timeline. The emails dated back 5 years at least, 5 goddamn years. Around the time Jake started middle school, when I'd been buried in work deadlines and she'd been pulling extra shifts. One message from 3 years ago, I wish I could leave everything and start over with you. Her reply, me too, but the kids. Timing isn't right. She'd been emotionally cheating for years, building a whole secret world while I built our life. It wasn't a sudden thing, it was premeditated erosion. Every family dinner, every holiday, every I love you exchanged, had it all been a lie? I confronted her over coffee at a neutral cafe, my hands shaking as I laid out printouts. How long, Sarah? How fucking long? She didn't deny it. Tears finally came then, but they felt more like relief than remorse. It started as just talking. Alex reached out on Facebook and, I don't know. He made me feel seen, Mark, like the girl I used to be before all this. Before all this, our family, our home, I wanted to scream, but I just sat there, numb. You stayed because, what, pity? The house, she shook her head. I love you, but not like that anymore. I tried to make it work. The breakdown came hard after that. Nights alone in our bed, now too big, too cold. I'd cry into the pillow, ugly sobs that left me exhausted. The house echoed with memories. Emily's first steps in the living room, Jake's birthday parties in the kitchen. Flashbacks hit like waves. Our wedding day, her in that white dress, promising forever under the oak tree. Us dancing in the kitchen to old songs, laughing until our sides hurt. Now it all felt tainted. Who was I without her? The devoted husband, the family man, that identity crumbled. I lost weight, stopped sleeping, questioned every decision. Friends called, but I pushed them away. I'm fine, I'd lie, staring at the ceiling, wondering if I'd ever feel whole again. But slowly something shifted. The pain didn't vanish, but it morphed. I started small, joined the gym she'd gone to, not for revenge, but because moving helped quiet the noise in my head. Lost 20 pounds, felt stronger. At work, I applied for that promotion I'd passed on years ago, the one with more responsibility but better pay. Got it, surprisingly. The kids noticed. Emily started spending more weekends with me, confiding how Mom's new life felt chaotic. Jake opened up too, saying he preferred the stability here. Sarah. She moved in with Alex eventually, but whispers from mutual friends trickled in. Arguments, his wandering eye. One day, she texted me, I miss the old us sometimes. I didn't reply. Not out of spite, but because I was building a new me. Months turned into a year. I dated casually, nothing serious, but it reminded me I was still alive. The house felt like mine now, redecorated a bit, filled with laughter from the kids' visits. I traveled solo for the first time, hiked trails I'd always talked about but never done. Peace crept in unexpected but welcome. Sarah regretted it, I think showed up at Emily's graduation teary-eyed alone. Alex had dumped her, turns out, for someone younger, but I didn't gloat. Life's too short for that. In the end, I realized I hadn't just lost a wife, I'd escaped a facade. She thought she was leaving a boring life behind. I was actually escaping a fake one.